You could not pay me to read one of this woman's books. It's just, it couldn't be me, but y'all have fun with that.
It was a disaster.
Greetings, mortals!
Wait, that's not my intro.
What up, my channel? Welcome back to another video. I'm Jessie, and you're watching. I am so freaking excited that my bestie Jan of Jan Agaton came out with a tag. Today, I'm going to be filming the Jan-uary tag. Little booktuber humor for you. This tag is such a brilliant idea. It's essentially a new beginning of the year tag where we just like talk about our goals and also kind of recap the previous year. I love that idea. I love how creative Jan is. She is fantastic. I'm also mad offended because I literally just watched her video, and at the end of this video, this girl's my best friend, right? Jan and I spend hours together. Not so much now that, you know, she's living with her man. Now she doesn't have as much time for me. But, okay, before he moved in, we would literally spend 6 hours together at a time. So where I'm going with this is that I spend a lot of time with this human being, right?
All of the time.
In fact. And I get to the end of her tag video and she's listing everybody that she's tagging. And she's listing everybody but me. Every one of her friends but me. So, okay. I'm a little salty about that. I'm a little salty that you came out with an original tag and tagged everybody but your best friend. That's cute. Question number 1 is, what was the last and first, if you remember, book you read last year? Not 100% positive, but I believe my last read book was This Is My America. This is a Black contemporary thriller about a girl who is trying to cure, why did I say cure? I cannot. Okay, she is trying to clear her brother's name after her brother is accused of murdering his white girlfriend. And also, she's also trying to get her father out of prison because he's been in prison for many years for a crime that his family insists that he did not commit. And it is a very, very good mystery thriller. It's major Get Out vibes. It's so freaking good. I loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I talk about it more in my wrap up, which I'll leave linked down below if you are curious. But this is the last book that I read. I was in the middle of like 4 books when 2021 ended and I didn't get to them. We are literally halfway through January and I still have not completed a single book. So the 2 books that I started were None But the Righteous by Chantal James and Detransition Baby by Tori Peters. This book I'm reading for my patron book club. I'm going to finish this today, actually. And then this was the very first book that I picked up. Paragraph 1 made me cry. It's amazing. This is a story about a boy named Ham. He's 19 years old. His life has been turned upside down from Hurricane Katrina and he's searching for his foster mother, but there's a spirit inside of him that is slowly taking over his mind and body, or as the story goes, and he's trying to find his foster mother and liberate himself from this spirit who is narrating the story. It is fantastic. It's very, very good. And then Detransition Baby is about 2 folks that are trans who used to be in a relationship and they decide to raise a baby together, and it is very, very good. Both of these books are amazing. I would be shocked if they don't both get 5 out of 5 stars. Oops, I accidentally combined questions 1 and 2. Question number 2 is, what was the first book that you read this year? That's what those are. Question number 3 is, share 3 of your reading goals for this year. I have not yet filmed my channel changes and reading goals video yet. You're gonna get a little bit of a sneak peek of my goals right now. So 3 of my goals are to definitely want to read more comics, graphic novels. I definitely want to continue delving into Black thriller and horror books, which I just have been so head over heels for. And I also want to be better about reading my anticipated releases. That transitions pretty nicely into question number 4, which is to share 3 of your most anticipated titles. Oh my god, I'm so excited. So off of the top of my head, we're gonna say Bitter by Akweke Emezi, which is the prequel to Pet. I am so freaking excited. Cannot be more excited for Babel, R.F. Kuang's historical dark academia book. What? We cannot freaking wait. And also, Simon Jimenez is finally coming out with a new book, his sophomore novel, Y'all, if you've been following comment down below if you've been following my channel long enough to remember me raving about Vanished Birds, trying to get everyone to fucking read it. I spent an entire year begging people to read Vanished Birds. An entire year. It is so good, and it is sapphic, so if you participate in Sapphic-a-thon, the monthly 24-hour readathon that I co-host with Jan, who created this tag, definitely make that book one of your picks because it is so freaking good. It is amazing. I love, love, love Vanished Birds. It sounds so freaking good. And it comes out on my birthday, which is May 3rd. Happy birthday to me. Question number 5 is, what goals did you not reach last year? And boy, where do we start? I have many. Let me pull out my handy dandy notebook because I had quite a few. Oh my god, I just found my spread for the Vanished Birds. I don't share my spreads, and this is like one of my first ones, and it's so beginner. I'm adorable. This is so precious. I have to read you. Oh my god, this is so cute. So I wrote 2 quotes. It never ceased to amaze Fumiko, the things people would say to her face with a smile. This was her face, the only face she knew, and she would have none other. And these quotes are in response to her being pressured to have plastic surgery. So the goals that I had, I swear I didn't reach any of my goals last year.
It was a disaster.
It was an absolute disaster. Kind of like my love life. One goal was to read more adult fantasy series. I failed at that. I did read some, but I swear it was comparable to what I read last year. I want there to be a marked difference. So failed at that. Another one was to read more library reads. Failed at that. And another was to read more comic books. I failed so hard at that. I read like 2 comic books last year, which is so sad because before I joined BookTube, comics and graphic novels were my main way of consuming stories. And then I just kind of fell out of it because I wanted to participate in like the typical BookTube community. And I just fell out of getting into my comics. I have a specific plan to change that. Question 6 is, are there any new releases that you've heard of that you've no desire to read? I'm definitely going to say, what is the new Sarah J. Maas book? Everybody's so excited about her new series. I don't care. You could not pay me to read one of this woman's books. I do not care about her books. They're just not for me, and I am not going to commit to reading a 9,000-page novel that I know I'm not gonna like. It couldn't be me, but y'all have fun with that. Question number 7 is, what are some reading habits that you want to change this year and why? And I'm actually gonna cite one of the things that Jan cited in her video, which was to actually read the books on your TBR. I want to actually read them. And by that she meant the books that I say, hey, I'm gonna read these books this month, actually reading those books. I was so trash at that last year to the point where I was like, what is the point of filming TBRs if I'm gonna come out with an entirely new set of books for my wrap up? And personally, I like structure, and I did a lot of experimenting with mood reading last year, and that was a mistake because I'm not a mood reader. I'm a structure reader. I always have been. I am excited to go back to like having that structure. That's what I like. So definitely actually completing the books that I say I'm gonna read. Question number 8 is, are there any adaptations that you're excited about? Honestly, there are so freaking many. There are so many, but I'm not sure what's coming out when. Like a lot of the adaptations that I'm geeked about were announced a few years ago, and I don't know if they're coming out this year specifically. But Tokyo Ever After just had their casting call. I think that was like late last year, so I'm really hoping that will come out this year. I am extremely excited for the Daisy Jones adaptations. The cast has changed so many times, I swear. I don't know if the stunning woman from the L Word is going to be starring in it anymore. I feel like that has changed. But I'm so geeked. Amazon Prime's putting it out, and I've had good experiences with their TV shows, so I'm excited for that. Number 9 is your favorite bookish memory of last year. I don't want to say what Jan said, which was meeting me, but honestly, like, I cannot tell you how good it was for my mental health, my spiritual, like my emotional health, my overall wellness, to meet Jan and to like do this thing where we just get together on stream and read for hours at a time. Like that, I think that was like the best thing, one of the best things that's ever happened to me. And my reading sessions with Jan, I swear, got me through last year. And those are some of the memories that I look into when I'm feeling low. And those are the memories that I'm like the most interested in recreating. And the final question is, are there any carry-ons that you are planning on finishing from last year? And definitely yes. Like I said, I started 9 million books and didn't finish a damn one of them, it feels like. One of the Carry-Ons that's actually on this month's TBR, January's TBR, is none other than The Way of All Flesh by Ambrose Parry. This is, oh, I'm sorry, I always say The Way of All Flesh. This is The Art of Dying, which is the companion novel to The Way of All Flesh. And it is so good. So this is a medical dark academia thriller that's set in 1800s Edinburgh, and we are following a female serial killer in this book. And I was reading it in December, and I freaking loved it. I loved it just as much as I loved book one, and book one was so phenomenal. It's such an underrated series. And the year that I read it, Benedict Cumberbatch came out as like saying that his production company had bought the rights to it and were trying to make it into a TV show. That was like in 2019. So I need to know if that's still freaking happening, because if it is, that is my top adaptation. I am so excited for that to be finally adapted, if it ever comes into fruition. I mean, another thing I should say for my excited adaptations is Akwaeke Emezi's romance novel being adapted by Michael B. Jordan's production company, and I'm so excited about that, but I don't know if we're actually going to get to see it in 2022, so we will see. That Carry-On is going to be completed come hell or high water this month in January. And that is going to do it for this video. Thank you so much to Jan for creating this awesome tag. It's so dope. I absolutely loved it. This was fun, even though you didn't tag me because you don't love me, and that's okay. I'm definitely going to be tagging Starla of Starla Enjoys. I love hearing about Starla's goals and plans and like the ways that they did or did not meet them. Starla is great. I love them. So definitely tagging Starla. I specifically can't wait to see it, Starla, so you better do this video. Please do this tag. Also going to be tagging Kevin of Irish Reader, Olivia of Olivia's Catastrophe. Okay, that's gonna do it for this video. If you want more content from me, you should subscribe to my Patreon, where I post patron exclusive updates and videos. This month's dedicated video is me talking about book review practices that annoy the crap out of me. And I'm really excited. But all my social media links are going to be in the description box below. Stay safe. Be good to yourselves, be good to others, and I hope to see you in my next video.